The dawn call to prayer floats over the Medina of the ancient and imperial city of Marrakesh. Graced a World Heritage Site of cultural importance, the Medina is a labyrinth of winding streets and shady alleys, and it is home to some 200,000 people. And at the heart of the Medina lies one of the most extraordinary and thrilling places in the world, La Place الفنا. Before this day ends, thousands will walk here, a never-ending tide of humanity. Clowns and conjurers, the lunatic and the beggar, women of easy virtue and reciters of the Holy Quran, deceivers and believers, the hopeless and the hopeful, all have their place in the democracy of Jama al-Fana. But strangers should beware, for La Place is above all a place of magic and sorcery, and to place a foot on the stained and pitted tarmac is to invite bewitchment, and it can be hard to escape her promiscuous embrace. La Place gives a living to between 500 and 1,000 people. They are the children of La Place. They feed and clothe their families, bury their dead, and educate their children on what they can wring from her hard, unyielding surface. Men like Abdullah, a seller of cigarettes, but one at a time to those too poor to buy them by the pack. And Hamid, teller of 10,000 fortunes. And this man, Mohammed Asawi, who arrives now with his brothers to practice his peculiar vocation. Mohammed is a charmer of venomous serpents. They are as familiar to him as the family dog or cat are to others. He knows their moods and needs. He feeds and cares for them, and in return they attract the watchers, from whom Mohammed earns his living. Mohammed comes from the Asawi tribe, whose home is deep in the Sahara Desert. Now he lives in this house on the outskirts of Marrakesh, with his wife and children, who sit spellbound by tales of their father's life.
مرتين تسالوا اشتكوا شوف انا فين كاين في الصحراء انا وليت نمشي تنجيب هذوك الحنش.
Look at the video. That is your father hunting the snakes. That's the hole where the snake is. If anyone tells you we use traps to catch them, tell them we use only our bare hands and trust in Allah. This is your father's way of life. You see that snake trying to bite me?
الشمس والخلاء والخوف.
This snake is found all over Morocco. His name is Black Mirror. Hold him like this. He might bite you. See his eyes and his mouth. This is his stomach. Feel it. It is soft. You can tell he is a male by his scales and by his penis.
وأنا مشيت لجامع الفنا مني عندي 10 سنين مازال صغير.
I first went to Jamal Fanal when I was very young, with my father 30 years ago. Now I am 40, and this is what Allah has chosen for me. I am a Sawi, and we keep snakes. We pass our lives on Jamal Fanal and earn bread for our children. We are born with nothing, and this is a gift from Allah. Snakes can kill, especially the cobras. You cannot play with them, but if you feed them, they will be gentle with you. Visitors look at the cobra, and he takes their breath away. Other snakes are good, but the cobra is the snake.
دابا أنا هذا في الصحراء تناكلوهم هادشي. في الصحراء تياكل غير الفراخ واللحم والجران. وني هنا عندنا تناكلو اللحم بحال هكا.
In the Sahara, this snake eats birds and frogs, but now he will not eat the devil, so I am feeding him in case he dies. Snakes are our profession, so we look after them as we look after ourselves.
الشم الآخر اسمع الآخر شم ريحة الماكلة.
Among the picture cards on sale on La Place are some showing it as it was almost a century ago. The motor car has arrived and done its damage, and the buildings are more grand, but little else has changed. Anyone seeking protection from an enemy or from ill fortune can purchase from Tariq a talisman that may protect them. And Tariq always begins by writing words from the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the Merciful and the Compassionate. Mohammed tried his luck some years ago in Spain, but things did not go well, and La Place drew him back, and now he sells foreign language newspapers second-hand. Read and disposed of by some passing traveller, they are offered at half price by Mohammed.
Yes, please. Okay, I will just make a change. 2 minutes, please.
Okay, no problem.
Driss is one of the monkey men. He hunted and trapped Coco high in the Atlas Mountains, trained her, and now she works with him on La Place. A rare treat for Fatima and her daughter Bushra. The few dirhams Fatima will pay Driss have been earned from the sweet-tasting bread she makes and sells in the Medina. A much-valued tradition of Marrakesh is the dyeing of the hands and feet of women, and this is done by the henna girls. One of the most gifted of these is Fatiha, and she has her first client of the day, a student, Touria, who is preparing herself for the wedding of her brother. These intricate patterns are made with the powdered leaves of the henna bush, mixed with water and a secret ingredient guaranteed to make the stain darker and longer lasting. No one knows the origins of henna skin dyeing, but traces of henna have been found on mummies buried in Egypt 3,000 years ago. Though the patterns she makes are based on traditional designs, it is not in the Marrakesh character to be regimented and uniform, and Fatiha improvises, saying that the patterns she makes are pictures that she sees in her head. All manner of spices from south of the Sahara, once brought to Marrakesh on the backs of camels, are available on La Place. Cinnamon and ginger that will sharpen couscous and tagine. Sweet-smelling frankincense and myrrh, whose fragrance might increase the ardour of a lover. And others more sinister that will assist the secret arts of the Grigri women, the casters of spells and charms intended to arouse feelings of love or to bring about ill fortune to an enemy. Noon, and time for the faithful to answer the call of the muezzin. And for a time, La Place becomes a godly place, for it is Friday, and the worshippers will overflow from the tiny mosque. Such is the concentration of the Muslims that they are undisturbed by the hurly-burly of Jamar al-Fana as they address themselves to their God. Fatiha's house lies deep in the Medina, and to return to eat and take her siesta, she rides the traditional Marrakesh public transport, carefully manoeuvred by Hamid, who knows the narrow streets as well as he knows his horses. Fatiha never went to school, and on La Place she learned other, perhaps harder lessons. She cannot read or write, but she can communicate in half a dozen languages. This small house is home to Fatiha, her younger brother and her mother. And the few dirhams Fatiha earns on Jamar al-Fana are the family's only source of income. Fatiha is 14 years old. How long has she known La Place?
دخلت جامع الفنون عندي 4 سنين. وكنت نعلق الصبيان والطليان.
I've been on La Place since I was 4 years old, a little child. At first I sold bracelets and people were kind to me and paid me well. It was after my father died, may Allah bless him, and I started doing henna, and Allah treats me well. I'm an artist of henna. Jamar al-Fana is nice. Everyone works and makes money there. There is nothing like Marrakesh, the Medina, the monkeys and the snakes. I've never seen other countries, but we have everything in Marrakesh, by the grace of God. We eat in Marrakesh. Everything is fine. No one upsets me on La Place. Perhaps if I am well paid for a job and I tell the other girls, they sometimes get jealous and talk about me, saying Fatiha is bad. But no one upsets me, by the grace of Allah. Some of the girls overcharge, but if a thing must be done, it must be done for pleasure, and if someone cannot pay me, I do the henna and wait for the money.
تناكله في مراكش تصورته بتلخبط في مراكش كل شيء الحمد لله زين.
In the future, we hope that Allah might let us emigrate to other countries, maybe America or Italy. Where is this film going to be shown?
Japan.
Japan. Sayonara for henna.
Ever-changing, the endless tide of humanity that flows across La Place contains all races of men, of all colours and complexions. The blonde and green-eyed Berber, the original inhabitant, the Arab, whose forefathers brought the Prophet's message 13 centuries ago, the Negro from deep in sub-Saharan Africa, and the European, all have left their mark on the faces of Jamar al-Fana. For a few dirhams, Hamid will predict the future for you, with the help of his magic mirror on which he inscribes indecipherable legends in precious saffron, and his intuition. This woman has come to consult him about an affair of the heart she is conducting with a married man. Hamid tells her that the wife of her lover knows of the affair, and that she might resort to black magic to take her revenge. Among the tricks Driss has taught Coco is the ability to pose for photographs and to take coins, valuable talents. The music these men are playing is called Ganawa, and they are known as the Ganawa. This is Abdul Latif, and the instrument he plays is a gimbal. Gnawa is trance music. Women can become possessed by it. And if a man buys a house he thinks is occupied by jinns and demons, it is the Gnawa that he calls on to make the exorcism. Like most of the trades practiced on Jumar al-Fana, the Gnawa tradition is handed on from generation to generation, and Abdul Latif passes on his knowledge as did his father before him. The origins of the word Gnawa are unknown, but it may relate to the word Guinea, the great empire that lay south below the Sahara and from which tens of thousands of slaves were brought to Morocco and sold on Jumar al-Fana. Gnawa music is the music of slaves, and it has much in common with another music of captivity, the blues. Both use call and response songs, both are highly rhythmic and accompanied by a stringed instrument, and the sounds of both contain the echoes of the pain and the suffering of the dispossessed.
I've been for 20 years playing on the place. We come to work, play music to our circle, and then collect money. Gnawa is good. Gnawa songs are about holy men who help the poor, like Moulay Ibrahim, who always made sure that the poor people had eaten before he fed himself, by the grace of God. Visitors come from all over the world to see us and listen to the music. I want my sons to go to school, but also to learn Gnawa. But I am worried that they will not finish their studies, because Gnawa music can catch your soul.
Another great tradition of La Place is the telling of stories. Sophisticated Marrakeshis, illiterate beggars, old men and children all listen to the fabulous tales told by Timoumi.
To Marrakesh the first time 25 years ago, and I was fascinated by the city, the Medina, and also by Jamal al-Fna. Jamal al-Fna Square is the only place in the world you can now to see a wall that disappeared from Europe more than a century ago. It's very important for the whole humanity to protect this space and to defend this oral tradition that was the beginning of our literature and all literatures in the world.
This story concerns a man, Ali, who one day came across a foreign king with an army on his land. Ali slew the king, but later the king's beautiful daughter came to Ali in search of her dead father.
Some storytellers are very funny. They are about the criticism of the hypocrisy of the bourgeoisie. Others made moral storytellers with examples of Muslim tradition. Each one has his idea and his way.
Shape, sight and sound, an unimaginable pantomime lasting late into the night. What dreams of glory does the infant pugilist harbour in his soul? What nameless charms and spells does a sorceress call down with her strange incantations that thicken the night air? The fire eater prepares to send flames high above the endlessly shifting throng, and the transvestite dancer, sensuously mocking the other sex with sinuous movement and ribald gesture.
محمد مرحبا بك. كامل في ضوابط كاينين ترانجا ومرحبا.
اللي يجي عليك كيسقط 4 أشهر وانا شاده بالمسلول غادي تصبح عاد غادي يكون عندك على خير ان شاء الله ويجي الله ولي
Once there were places like Jamal al-Fana in cities throughout Europe, Asia and Africa. Now it is perhaps unique. Has humanity changed? Or has the modern world merely tided away the hustlers and the bustlers, the free spirits who live from day to day on their wits and their inherited skills? Are we now dependent always on others for our bread? Is uniformity fed to us through television screens? Isolation in lonely rooms? Will the satellite dish sweep away the children of Jamal al-Fana? By the grace of God, this film was written and directed by Abu Bakr. Steve Gray was the cameraman. The editor was Tony Palmer. Shirley Booth and Targo San were the producers. And the music was by Alexander Borodin, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, and the children of Jamal al-Fana.